Hi trainers, I just wanted to let you know that Pokemon Unite will be down from 2 PM to 12 AM PT on September 21st. I've compiled all these time zones, so this makes it easier for you to know when Pokemon Unite is going to be down. I think this is to prepare for the mobile release on the 22nd. If you haven't seen my video from yesterday and you have the Battle Pass, there is only now 4 days left for it before the first half of the season is over, I think. So around 4 days. Also a reminder for the ranked mode, you get a bunch of tickets depending on what rank you made it to. I don't know if this is the ending since it's just the end of the first half of the season, but just in case, you can try to grind up as much as you can. And with it being down during these times, that is a 10-hour window of not being able to grind on Pokemon Unite. So if you had any plans to do a huge last day grind or something, it may be best to schedule that a little earlier. For the rest of the video, I'm going to go through a balanced tier list, what I think they should nerf, buff, etc. And with that, for the question of the day, what changes do you want to see with the mobile release? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's go through the Pokemon first. Here I have a tier list. This is just a super general tier list, and I would love to hear your thoughts on what Pokemon should go where, so feel free to leave it down below. This is just my opinion. You do not have to agree, that is perfectly fine. Feel free to leave your own tier list down in the comments below. So I have 4 categories. We have the nerf category. Doesn't always mean a huge nerf, it could also just be a minor nerf or a slight nerf. Under that we have buff, which is the same, could be big or slightly. Then under that we have balance. I think the Pokemon doesn't need a buff or nerf. It can be a strong Pokemon, but doesn't necessarily mean they need to be changed. And the last category I have is unsure. It's just I have no idea what they should do with this Pokemon. First we have Absol. I'm really unsure of Absol. In high competitive, it is considered weak, but in casuals and lower ranks, it's pretty strong. So I'm actually unsure if Absol needs a buff or a nerf. So for me, I'm going to put Absol in unsure. Next, we have Ninetales. I'm going to put Ninetales in balance. I find Ninetales to be pretty strong, on the stronger side of the spectrum, but I think a nerf would hurt it. Blastoise to me needs a nerf. It just has a lot of damage of high defense, and I think that is just a dangerous combination. So I personally feel that Blastoise needs a nerf. Blissey, I find balance. I find the buff offers the game some counterplay against such a heavy crowd control game. So yeah, I think Blissey's in a good spot. Charizard, I still feel like it needs a buff even though it has already gotten one. I just feel like its early game is still not too great. Cinderace, I find balance in my opinion, so I'm happy to leave it there. Cramorant, Crustle, Eldegoss, I also find them balance. Garchomp, I feel like it's in a weird spot, so I don't have much experience with Garchomp. I think maybe a buff. But every Garchomp I go against, they just seem to struggle reaching that power spike, so I definitely would love your thoughts. I feel like it might need a buff. Maybe. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it in unsure. Gardevoir. So I'm pronouncing this completely wrong. My Australian accent just says Gardevoir. I think the actual pronunciation is Gardevoir. I think. I'm trying so hard. I'm really trying. I think it needs a buff. It has such a rough early game, and I feel like that maybe it could be stronger. Next we have Gengar. I play so much Gengar, and I personally feel like it's balanced. I can deal a ton of damage, but I can also be countered, so I would say Gengar's in a good spot. Greninja. Okay, I think it needs a nerf. It's very powerful, maybe just the slightest of nerfs, honestly, in my opinion. Maybe to surf. I love Greninja, one of my favorite attackers, but it does feel incredibly strong sometimes. Because Greninja is so strong at the moment, I feel like it devalues speedsters, since Greninja, in my opinion, is the best jungler, and that kind of puts speedsters out of a job. So yeah, I think Greninja kind of needs a nerf. Lucario, I also think needs a nerf. Lucario is so hard to take down sometimes, and can just really deal a lot of damage and get out. I think Lucario might need to be tuned down just a bit. Machamp, I'm going to put this in unsure. I don't really go against Machamp that often or have one on my team. When I do, they seem to steamroll through my teammates or the enemies, so I really don't know. Machamp for me is going to be in the unsure category. Mr. Mime, maybe a slight nerf or maybe balance. I have been going against Mr. Mime a lot recently, and they're just on another level, actually pros. They support so well and do so much damage, and I think it might just need a nerf. Pikachu, buff Pikachu please. Pikachu is so fun, but its late game falls off pretty hard. Slowbro, I think it needs a buff. I feel like it's struggling to keep up with other defenders, so I'd like to see a Slowbro buff. Snorlax, balanced in my opinion after its nerf. I do have an easier time going against Snorlax, and it still can ruin my day, so I think it's pretty balanced. Talonflame, I think it still needs a buff. The thing is, its damaging moves are also its really high mobility moves, and the cooldown doesn't feel too great, so I think it needs a buff again. Venusaur, I think it's balanced. I have gone against some and played with some, and they generally don't seem to be doing too bad, so I think it's okay, balanced in my opinion, but I would love to know your thoughts. Wigglytuff needs a nerf. They provide so much for the team and deal so much damage, and also can tank so much, so I do think Wigglytuff needs to be tuned down, even though it's one of my favorite supports. Zeraora, please nerf Discharge. This Pokemon literally gives me flashbacks. Okay, so now let's move on to the items. At the moment, I am in the opinion of that items do not need to be nerfed. I would like to see every other item except for Muscle Band, Body Barrier, Focus Band, Score Shield, and Wise Glasses to be buffed. I also would like to see some scaling adjustments, but that is what I think is fine. I feel that Scope Lens, Energy Amplifier, and XP Share should be changed maybe a little bit. Nothing crazy, but just like it's super niche where it only works on like a few Pokemon. I feel like all the stacking items, the conditions should be changed. Like maybe stack with last hitting wild Pokemon instead of just having to score. That's at least how it worked on the other MOBAs I've played. So I think that would make it more viable to use because it's easier to stack at that point. For the out of combat items, I feel like lower the out of combat time or even just change it to something else. So yeah, I would like to see a huge overhaul of the items. I would just like to have everything viable. It'd make it so fun to just like, mix the item builds a bit and just see what works, Zapdos I think could be changed or nerfed in a way. There are many ways you could go about this, but generally I do think Zapdos needs some changes. And I would like to see Rotom worth more than what it is at the moment. And I think that's all we have today. So thank you so much for watching. I love to hear what changes you'd like to see. I'll be releasing a lot of new beginner guides for new players joining us. Subscribe and click the bell for more Pokemon Unite guides, news and gameplays. Like the video if you're excited for Wednesday. Let's hope they have some really huge changes in it for us. Bye!